So this is what Gary Neville had said after the draw, which saw United slip from fifth to eighth. I think your spine of a football team is critical. When I first came to Man United, our spine was Schmeichel, Bruce, Pallister, Keane, and Cantona. So we're all scattered around it. The We literally were able to be cushioned by this unbelievably strong spine that delivered every week. I think Maguire and De Ligt should be doing better than they are. You know, you look at the experience that those two have got. De Ligt's played a mountains of games at sorts of different levels, the highest level. Harry's played many times for England. You've got midfielders like Casemiro and Bruno have got massive experience. Up front, they've got the experience. But to me, that spine of Bruno, Casemiro, Maguire and De Ligt is ageing, but should be doing a lot better at holding it all together than they do. That's why I think Liverpool are good, because they've got Alisson, Van Dijk and McAllister and Gravenberch, and they've got obviously the centre forwards. I mean, look, it's something that I've been saying for a long time. I don't think that I'm old enough to remember the class of '92 coming through, but Neville, Scholes, Giggs, Beckham, and you did have Bruce and McAllister and Keane and Ince and Cantona and Schmeichel, and you were protected by them. And when I look at like Sesko, Dorgu, Ahmad, any other young player, Yoro, Garnacho, over the years, there isn't really an experienced team to help those players. And I think Gary Neville's absolutely right there. I think to call out Casemiro, Bruno, Maguire, Shaw, there are a couple of others. I don't think we provide a great platform. I don't think we provide great leadership. And I would argue this with anybody, because I'll come on to the De Ligt thing in a minute, because I don't agree with that. But when I look at this Man United side over recent years, and I look at Rashford shooting from all over the place, and Anthony shooting from all over the place, and Garnacho shooting from all over the place, and I can see Casemiro and Bruno in the same team, I'm like, why are they not telling them not to do that? Why are they not demanding they don't do that and they be more of a team player? So I do agree with Gary Neville on that. I think that the so-called experience in our team, the senior leadership team, they've been very bad at preventing bad habits in that team. Very bad. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been very bad at stopping bad habits and nurturing our young players and molding them in the way that they should be molded. So I agree with him completely on that. I actually do. I completely agree. Where I don't agree with him, and this is where some people struggle, is the little intricacies of what's used in a good point. I think he's making a good point, but I do not agree about De Ligt, because De Ligt is not aging. De Ligt is not aging. De Ligt is only into being here for just over 12 months. So you can't throw De Ligt into the same category as Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro and Harry Maguire, who, when you add it up, have got over easily probably nearly 15 years experience at Manchester United, but certainly over 10 years, and they're all over 30. You can't throw De Ligt, who's in his mid-20s and has got just over 12 months experience, into the same argument. So I do agree with him. I don't think our leadership team nurtures and develops talent as well as it should do. But you can't throw De Ligt into there, because Mazraoui's older than De Ligt, so why is he not there? Luke Shaw's older than De Ligt, so why is he not there? So De Ligt cannot be seen as part of our leadership team, because he's not even on the leadership team. He's not on Amorim's leadership team. So I think it's a great point by Gary Neville to talk about our leadership team and its inadequacies, and I'd argue that with anybody, because why do I keep watching Man United over the last couple of years play with indiscipline from younger players when our older players should be nurturing them and telling them what to do? I completely agree with that. But De Ligt's not part of the leadership team. He's not part of Amorim's leadership team, and he's not part of the leadership team anyway, because he's not been here long enough, and he's not as old as the rest of them. So throwing De Ligt in there is unfair. And also saying De Ligt needs to do better. De Ligt's our best player this season. Absolutely 100%. So I think this is the brilliance of football conversation and life. Like, there's a very good point there, because it's got us talking. There's a problem, though. De Ligt should not be involved in that. De Ligt should be swapped out for Shaw and Delot. Maybe that's a mistype. Maybe he was saying Delot, because he can't be saying De Ligt. It can't be De Ligt. De Ligt cannot be in there. But in fairness, we did say this a couple of weeks ago. When it comes to De Ligt, for some reason, there is a total and utter UK media issue with De Ligt, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, and that's why I'm grateful for communities like this and fan bases like ours, because every Man United fan I talk to loves De Ligt and talks about his consistency and what a great signing he's been and how he can be a leader of the future and he's one of the top 3 centre-backs in the Premier League at the moment. Fact. But you speak to the UK media or an ex-player and they won't have it. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. I don't get it. But I do agree with him about the leadership team. I do think Casemiro, Bruno, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw should be doing a better job around running that team, organising that team, controlling that team. But as we know, the captain himself is the most petulant player in that team. So you cannot be captain of Man United and tell people not to shoot and not to do silly things when he's the most indisciplined player on the pitch. So maybe that is the answer as to why it's very different to how we used to develop players. I don't know. But De Ligt, top 3 centre-back in the Premier League. Are you okay, Mark? Tell me 3 better ones. Tell me 3 better ones. Gabriel, yeah, I'll have that. Saliba, probably. Yeah, I'll have that. I can't think of a third. Don't tell me about Van Dijk. You know, he's living on past habits. Konate, the same. Ruben Diaz, I've never rated him. Van der Ven and Romero, forget about it. Newcastle centre-backs, get lost. Konsa's doing well at Villa. I like that shout. But that's very similar to what De Ligt's doing. And Konsa's older than De Ligt. I like Konsa. I think he's a very good centre-back. I think Gehi's a very good centre-back, but we're all into the same. De Ligt's been brilliant for Man United this season. I've watched every single game. Most of you have watched them with me. De Ligt has been a sensation for Manchester United this season. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This season, he's in the top 3 centre-backs in the Premier League. Absolutely. Comfortably. The player ratings would back that up. I bet his average player rating is the highest player rating so far this season, as voted for by you.